Hello friends, and welcome back to Swift Lessons for another lead guitar tutorial. In today's session, I'm going to be breaking down Eric Clapton's second guitar solo from the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Again, this is a very cool solo, great for kind of intermediate level players. It's full of some excellent licks and some very interesting bend-in techniques. You can follow along using my tab at patreon.com/swiftlessons. I ask that you support the channel there and gain access to a ton of extra resources for all my popular YouTube guitar lessons. Now, let's get started. Okay, close look at the fretboard, getting started, breaking down Eric Clapton's second solo of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Now, we're going to get started learning the scales that Clapton's using. Okay, so the main scale that he's starting with is the A minor pentatonic scale in its E position. Okay, so if you're familiar with the cage system, you know that you can play an E minor chord, transition it, or transpose it rather, to the 5th fret position barred to create the chord A minor, and surrounding that shape, we have the A minor pentatonic scale, and we would call that in its E shape position. Okay, so that was the 5th fret low E string going up to 8, on the A string 5-7, D string 5-7, G string 5-7, B string 5-8, and the high E string 5-8. Put that together and we have the common position of the minor pentatonic scale, key of A. Okay, the next scale box that he's using, very briefly, is the A minor pentatonic scale in the 2nd octave of the G position. Okay, so I'm going to take a G chord, transpose it to the key of A, up an octave. All right, bar it up. Okay, this is not a very common shape, but surrounding the position we have. Okay, so low E string 15 up to 17. Same thing on the A string. The D string we're going to play 14 up to 17. The G string 14, 17. Then the B string we're back to 15, 17. And the same thing on the high E string. Really great position. That is a position that a lot of players just don't play in, but it does yield a lot of really cool licks. Okay, then finally the last position that he's going to use is simply the octave of where you started. Okay, take that up to the 17th fret position. And you got that position that he's doing all those cool bends up in the 2nd octave. Okay, very good everybody. You've got the source scales down. Now we're going to jump into learning the solo, dividing it up into 7 easy to learn sections. Getting started with section 1, we're going to have some bending. Here in the minor pentatonic scale, 7th fret of the G string, bending up a whole step. So what's going on is basically we're bending on the 2nd and 4th beats of each measure, but pay attention to the 3rd bend, which is going to ring out twice as long, 4 beats in total. Okay, so count along with me and see if you can play along as well. We're bending that G string, 7th fret, up 1 whole step. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that completes that section. It's very repetitive. The one thing I noticed that is very important is this technique where he's bending and vibratoing, one of the most important bending techniques. So practice that, bending up the string, and see if you can get that nice vibrato as you reach the top of the bend. Okay, very good everybody. You've got section 1 down. Now we're jumping into section 2, where we're going to start playing some real licks. Real quick, remember to subscribe and ring the bell so you can stay up to date with all things Swift Lessons. Okay, demonstrating section 2, it's going to sound like this. Alright, and that last note there gets you on to the next section. Okay, one more time real slow. Okay, so that began bending the 8th fret of the B string, again on beats 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, next we're going to have this lick. Alright, so I bent the G string, 7th fret up a whole step. Then 5 and 5 on the high E string and B string. We're going to repeat it twice. So far you have. Alright, that's going to be followed by a big bend, 8th fret of the high E string. Bend it up. Pick it again. Release back to the unbent position. Alright, after we've played that note, we're going to repeat 5 and 5, E string and B string. So far you have in this lick. Alright, then we're back to the G string 7th fret for a bend and a release. Before going to the 5th fret of the G string. Alright, then we're going to finish up this section with a hammer on. D string, 5 going up to 7. And then to the G string, 5th fret, to get to the next section. Okay, put all that together and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so play along with that to get the rhythm. It's very specific. If you don't have these notes falling on the specific beats, then you're going to fall out of time and you're not going to really get the sound. Okay, well done everybody. We have sections 1 and 2 down. Now we're moving into section 3. It's going to sound like this, starting from the tail end of section 2. So, here we go. Alright, and then that last note there on the 14th fret G string is going to be part of a lick that's in section number 4. Okay, so we came out of section 2, that hammer, and then the vibrato on the 5th fret of the G string. We let that ring out, and then we slide up back into the exact same 5th fret G string position. I'm sliding from the 2nd fret, that sounds pretty good. Alright, from there we're going to do a slide up and away. Alright, to make that sound, I'm sliding, and then I'm putting my palm back onto the strings with my right hand here. Alright, to silence it. Okay, so far you have. Okay, next we're going to play. Okay, so I bent the 17th fret of the G string and vibratoed, letting it ring. Into the next measure we're going to play. Alright, so I bent and then I just rode the sustain. Kind of pumping it 2 times. Alright, then finally we're going to bend it up once more. Kill the sustain. And then pluck the unbent note on the 17th fret of the G string. Okay, you put all that together and we've got, starting from that last section. Slide in, slide away. Alright, the bend, bend. Alright, and then finally to the 14th fret of the G string to end this section, which will get us into section number 4. Okay, continuing on now to section 4, starting from the last note of section 3. It's going to sound like this. Okay, breaking that down, starting on the 14th fret of the G string, the end of section 3. Alright, then taking a look at this tab, we're up to 17 twice. Down to 14, 14. A hammer, 14 up to 17. And then pluck the 17th fret once more. Let it ring into the next measure. And then pluck it again. Okay, so that sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Okay, from there we're going to slide up 17 up to 19. Bend that note up a whole step. High E string and B string, 17, 17. Up to 20 of the same string. Alright, and then finally, 19th fret G string, bending up and returning. Down to 17. And then resolving to the 19th fret of the D string. Okay, we're going to stop there for a second. So far we have... Alright, and notice how I did a slight bend on that 17th fret of the G string, which isn't reflected in the tab, but it just sounds a lot better when you're resolving to the root note. Adds a little bit of tension. Alright, one more time. Alright, let's finish this section up now with 2 bends. Alright, we're on the 20th fret, high E string, bend it up. Alright, it's actually 1 bend. We're bending it, and then just plucking it a second time to end this section. Okay, excellent work everybody. We have sections 1 through 4 down. Now we're jumping into section 5. Some more bending here, up into the octave of the A minor pentatonic scale in its E-shaped position. This section's gonna sound like this. Okay, and that last note, 17th fret of the high E string, is part of the next section. Okay, breaking this line down, it's actually very simple. We're starting on the 20th fret of the B string, bending it up a whole step and letting it ring with a little vibrato. Alright, next we're going to play. Alright, I played the 20th fret unbent, and then I'm going to bend it and pluck twice. Alright. Now the next phrase is going to sound like this. Alright, so we're bending it up, releasing. Alright, then we're going to bend again. And that last bend, you can choose whether or not you want to pluck it. You can just ride the sustain, which actually makes your playing sound a little smoother. Okay, put all those bends together and we've got... Alright, then the final part of this line, it's going to sound like this. Alright, and the last note, again, is part of the next section. So bending in the 19th fret of the G string up a whole step. Alright, then the B string, 17 up to 20. High E string, 17. 20 back on the B. And then part of the next section, a staccato note on the 17th fret of the high E string. Put all that together, we have all of line number 5, bending. Okay, now moving into section 6. Starting from the last lick of section 5, it's going to sound like this. And that last bend there is going to be a part of section number 7. Okay, so that began on the 17th fret of the B string. We're going to have this first lick. Alright, B string 17. G string 19, bending up a full step. Alright, then 17, 17, B string and high E. To the 20th fret of the B string to end that measure. Alright, then we're on to the 19th fret of the G string, bending and returning. Alright, then 17, 19. Alright, 17, 19 on the D string with a hammer. Alright, to the 17th fret of the G string with a slight bend to end this measure. Then we're going to strike the A string open and play the 2nd fret of the G string, another A note. Okay, put all that together and we have... Really slow this time. there, we're going to slide up to 5. And then we're going to hammer and pull. Alright, that was a hammer. 5 up to 7. And then pulling off. 7 down to 5. And then to kind of end the phrase and get ourselves into the next section, we're going to bend the G string 7th fret up a whole step. You put all of line 6 together, and we have, starting from the end of line number 5, here we go. Slide. Alright, now let's learn your 7th and final line. Okay, demonstrating line number 7, starting from the very end of line number 6. We have the hammer. Okay, so that began with the bend of the 7th fret of the G string to start us off. Then we're going to have this phrase. Alright, that was the B string. 5 going up to 8. Alright, then a bend and return. 7th fret of the G string, this time with the middle finger. And then down to 5. Alright, that's your first measure there. Alright, next, double stop, bending. We're going to have the 7th fret of the G string and 7th fret of the B string. Just bending up and return. So far you have. Alright, next we're going to have some repetition. It's going to sound like this. Alright, so a very similar lick to what we just played, but with a little tail at the end. So that was 5 going up to 8 on the B. Bending the 7th fret. Alright, next we're going down to 5 on the G string, but we're going to hammer up to 7 and bend. Alright, you put that together, and starting from the double stop bend, we have. Alright, you're going to return down. Alright, then we're going down to 5, up to 7, and then stacking 7th fret of the D string. Alright, once again, from that double stop bend. Okay, then we just have some slides to finish up the solo. Very simple. 5 going up to 8. Alright, and then 8 going up to 10, and then plucking it once again. Okay, now let's take everything that we learned, combine it. I'm going to play that demonstration for you once more, but I'm going to play it at about 75% tempo. Alright friends, thanks so much for checking out this Eric Clapton guitar tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. As always, big thanks to my supporters at patreon.com/swiftlessons. Hope you're enjoying all those extra resources. And thanks to you guys, I got many more lessons coming up. So keep checking in. Please subscribe. Please share. This is Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia, saying happy picking.